Call hello Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. Salutations to you brothers in the highways and byways. Salutations also and always goes out to you brothers and few sisters that tune in to listen and learn. The rest of the hopeful elect. I'm the brother Malak from the Diligent Soldier Camp here in Boston, Mass. And as always, I pray this lesson be edifying to the elect. Right, the name of this lesson is going to be called Order Out of Chaos, the Last Moments of Esau's Kingdom. Order out of chaos, the last moments of Esau's kingdom, right? And this is pursuant to everything that's happening, at least here in Babylon, right? Because there's a lot going on all around the world. Okay, you have many countries at war. You have many countries with the people in distress. And what does the scriptures call? How does the scriptures call it? Mourning, Salakia. All right, the water Yahweh Bashim Shapta. Yeah, mourning. You have a lot of these different nations mourning for the things that are going on in their countries and abroad, because what happens abroad affects people in other countries, right? So, for example, this country, the way it's going, it's affecting the economy not only of this country but other countries, man. And it benefits a lot of these different nations that Babylon runs smoothly, right? For the most part, because we know that there's wicked ass people that make billions and if not trillions of the misery of others, right? But to stick to the topic, order out of chaos, the last moments of Esau's kingdom is where we are right now. We're in the end result, right, of Esau's rulership here on earth. All right, and the scriptures speak of him being, Satan being loose for a little season, right? Speaking on these Edomites, man, and that's pursuant to Revelations 12:3. And we're living in the last moments, man. At the last time of that, at the very end of that season, of that small season, that little season that scripture speaks of, man. Okay, which is why you're seeing what you're seeing all around the world. The world just being in total chaos, man, because of this devil, man. Right? He doesn't only affect his own, right? But as the scripture says, he's not a keeper of his. Roughly paraphrasing, he's not a keeper of his home. He heapeth to himself all different nations, all different people, man. And exalt himself as hell, man, because that's exactly what he does is just bring misery to the planet, man. We say it a lot jokingly, but we mean it 100%, man. Esau, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, is indeed and truly a cancer in this on this earth, man. But he's about to be eradicated, man. All right, he served his purpose, as of late. The chaos that's erupting here for the past few weeks. In Babylon, is nothing short of what the scriptures prophesy about, man. You got organizations, in these different from Babylon, but these states that some are blue, some are red, right, and they're taking advantage of the situation, and for their own personal gains, they're doing what they think needs to be done, right? But in the form of making things worse, right? Because you have one side doing it for power, the other one doing it for profit. You know what I mean? And you're seeing just nothing but chaos in the streets, man. You have pallets of bricks and cement blocks, piled up and left in certain areas where these people are supposed to be protesting. You know, on top of that, you have this organization, this site, this website called you think it's nokings.org or .com, whatever, where over 1.5 million people have signed up, you know, to participate in all the madness. All right, you have Craigslist postings, right? As of late, brothers have been making many videos, many lessons on that. Just thought I'd put it out there also. You know, the 700 Marines that they was supposed to be deploying to California and other places, because with that website going up like that, you know, I mean, you know, if I know and brothers know, then, you know, Esau and Trumpito and everybody else knows too, you know. And then on top of all that, you got agents, man, known as agent provocateurs, man, you know, hirelings, paid actors, man, to just run amok and instigate and further, I don't know how to say this, but just basically make it worse. You know what I mean? They're there to throw more wood at the fire or gas at the flame, if you will, right? But like I said, we're at the end of this man's little season that he's been let loose to just, you know, run amok on earth, man. Okay? But, you know, these prophecies are 3D, man. You know what I mean? In the sense that these prophecies are popping out the Bible, man. You know, we've been speaking on this for years now, ever since I've been in this, since like 2018, and the elders and apostles that I've learned this from prior to that have been speaking about this and prophesying it for the past 30 years, man, that these things were going to come about, and how bad it was going to get, and how the police was eventually going to be militarized. Okay, and that's what you're seeing. Not only that, but you're also seeing hired they call them man, I forget the word, but basically there are people that are so-called deputized to go after you know, Jake, so-called immigrant Jakes, you know, to basically deport them. But as of late, there's information coming out that these people, what they really are basically modern day slave catchers, man. And how each so-called illegal that they snatch up is potentially $1 million payout, man. You know, there's information coming out because there's people in touch that are in these facilities that some way, somehow are in touch with other people. And some of those people are lawyers, and those lawyers are coming out and bringing this information out, you know, which is nothing short of the Egyptians against the Egyptians, man, you know, and their tongue falling upon themselves, man. Those where we get those scriptures. But this first one I want to bring out is Luke 21 and 25. All right, just because, you know, we're in those times, man, and we can't deny them. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Okay, now the reason I brought this one out is because, you know, it says there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon. You know, we've been having eclipse, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. You know, these I don't know, I forget the names of the moon, of these specific full moons, right? But they're it's almost like the Lord is ramping them up, because, you know, we've seen them more and more, right? And people obviously are dismayed when they look at it, you know, but we know that these are the signs, because pursuant to Genesis, the book of Genesis, it tells you how these lights, you know, were going to be the sun and the moon were going to be for days and for weeks, months, and for signs, man. You know what I mean? And we see them, and we're not dismayed at them. We know what they mean, okay? Because even the scriptures tell you that before the day of the Lord, the moon shall be blood red, man. Okay, these are omens that have been warning the elect, right? For these things to come. And I know, you know, I'll speak for myself, but I also could say that other brothers are also seeing these things, but I can't stop seeing, 144, 414, 441. I can't stop seeing that number. Sometimes I see it multiple times in a day, back to back sometimes too. And it's not like I'm driving around looking at people's license plates, but it just so happens when I look to my left or look to my right that there is a license plate, and lo and behold, it's a 144, right? And now, Lord's will, I'm a part of that number, because that number represents the elect, but it represents the first fruits, first and foremost. You know what I mean? But also, I look at it as warning, right? As exhortation, right? To keep going, to keep reading, to keep believing, keep the faith, keep praying, keep making these lessons, these epistles for the elect to listen, learn, take heed, because it's gonna be out of how do I say this, man? It's gonna come to an end one day, man. And that day might be really soon, man. When the men of the Lord are no longer in the highways and byways, in the streets, or even able to post any lessons, man. Because at the same time that all these things are happening, you got you have Babylon, the king of Babylon, making some type of contract with some company called Plantier. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but it's basically like a branch of the CIA, where basically they're tasked with building up data centers or whatever, if you will, but like basically compiling data on each individual citizen of the U.S., man, of Babylon, right? To keep it, you know what I mean? And as the more you read on it, these things they're going even into thought crimes and everything, man. So even before you actually do something, they could snatch you up for it, man. So this is the George Orwell dystopian future that this country, starting with this country, but the rest of the world is heading towards, man. Okay, but as I was reading, the moon and the sun, these are for signs, man, and the elect are not gonna be dismayed. They're gonna pick up on it, realize time and time again where, okay, you see this is a living book. This is telling the truth. The scriptures are real. The Lord is real. He's coming. You know what I mean? These prophecies are coming about. He's making good on his word. So we're not stressing it. We just pray more, and we're actually excited that these things are happening, because we're seeing the word of the Lord, his prophecies, man, coming about. All right. But at the same time, you do see the stress of nations, as the scriptures also say. Right? You have a lot of these different countries going to war, Iran and Israel as of late. You got Ukraine and Putin still going at it. You know what I'm saying? You have people in South and Central America that are going at it too. Babylon is in the midst of every fucking problem. You know what I mean? Babylon is that Babylon's name comes up in every beef, man, around the world. All right, this nigga is always mentioned. These Babylonians is what I mean by that, man. But these are the things that are happening. So knowing those things, we should be preparing ourselves, right? Staying in tune, staying single-eyed with the Lord and the Spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, which is the Rakak Wadash, man. You know what I'm saying? Because these things are happening, and there's more to come, right? Even more intense prophecies, man. But even with the ones that are happening right now, as far as the distress, as far as all the chaos that's going on and the people mourning, you know what I mean? These were also once prophesied about. As I said earlier, you know, the elders, apostles, bishops, the elders, you know, these are things that they've been prophesying and speaking on for the past 30 years, 30 plus years. And it's happening. It's now they're seeing what they've been talking about all this time. You know what I mean? This is the book of Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Okay? But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, and another word for tarry is delay. Though it delays, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. It will not delay. You could bet your bottom dollar that all these prophecies are going to happen. Okay? And they're happening. All right? This is the last few major, the major ones are it's like the icing and cherry on top. Man, well, the cherry on top is the Lord coming back and destroying this place and saving his people, right? But all the icing is all the madness is going on around the world, man. You know, these people still going at it, you know, and Esau, like, you know, as scared as he is, man, he's still fighting, you know, because these devils know. Scriptures tell you that that the devil also believes and is afraid, you know, roughly paraphrasing, man, you know, and then he also sees the Lord setting us up in order in their eyes, and the scriptures speak about how they're in fear, man. Okay, so that fear leads you to do things that you wouldn't really do using reasoning and what's that other word? Rationalization, I think it's called, you know, like with reason, like using their mind, you know. In other words, they're you know, as the scripture says, that this is going to lead up to them with that madman mentality and coming in as a flood, you know, like a madman, you know, just killing everything in sight, you know. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 2. It says, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Okay, and this is what you're seeing happening right now, man. All right, like I said earlier, man, you have, you know, 50% are Democrats in this country, the other 50% is Republicans, and then you got all the ones in the middle that kind of basically just feed off of each other. Feed off of the major ones, the Democrats and Republicans. Okay, and basically, man, you know, not only are they telling on themselves, man, but they're very divided, you know, to the point where they you know, the way they speak on each other, you know, it's almost like, you know, that they're not brothers, they're not peoples, they're not the same, you know. They're basically divided, and it tells, as the scripture is telling you here, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, you know. Esau's about to go at it with each other, you know. Jake is going to be in the midst of all that, you know, which all this is going to soon turn to Jacob's trouble, right? And it's going to be a time where it's going to be undeniable, you know, that we are in Jacob's trouble, because, you know, scriptures clearly tell you that it's like a time that has never been. As a matter of fact, let me see, do I have it open already? Yeah, right here, Jeremiah 30:7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, man. All right, he shall be saved out of it. The Israelites, the elect of the Israelites are going to be saved out of it, man. Okay, because this place is crumbling, man, and the elect, the hopeful elect, know that and could see it, you know. The rest of our people, the you know, Jakes that don't see it, are completely just blind, right, sleeping and comfortable, settled in their leads, man, with this place, complacent even, okay. They don't care. So it's like a sinking ship, and they're going down with it, you know. And Esau's just playing that violin, you know, like in the Titanic, you know, as the ship was going down. Here it is, they're playing the fucking music, you know. Instead of changing themselves and you know, they just can't, man. That's how they hardwired, man. All right, to do what they're doing right now, man. And you know, Koholo Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, man, for this place basically deteriorating, man. Right, but a quick precept, you know, to Isaiah 19:2. I'll read it again, right? Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Now, when you go to Matthew chapter 12, verse 25, it reads, and Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. All right? This is why the scriptures say that we should all speak the same things. That's not something that, just because, you know, the brother in my camp is saying it, I'm going to say it too. It's because we all believe it wholeheartedly. So therefore we speak it, and we sound the same. We say the same things when we're speaking about a particular subject in the scriptures or something that's going on, you know, in the world, and we filter it through the scriptures. You know, we all speak the same thing because we're in one mindset, man, one body, okay? But these people are not. Here it is, they have all the money, all the resources, right? All the connects, the network, infrastructure, everything. Yet they're divided, man, right? Because Esau's that greedy that he had to have his top Edomites, you know what I mean? And they have all the power. And then the rest of the peons, all they get is, you know, a social constructed word, right? That's a phrase that I could use, hopefully, which is white, you know what I mean? And certain privileges that come with that, you know what I mean? Like not getting in trouble, like other men, as the scripture says, you know. That's why you got them shooting up schools, and they still get a water bottle, and they sit them down, and they get them cheeseburgers. But if it's Jake that's doing any of that or close to that, not even committed any crime, Jake get put to death, man. You know, Jake gets stretched out on the floor, man, and left to die with no fucking problem, man. All right. Verse 26 says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand, man? And it can't. It can't. When you have a kingdom, everybody that's a part of the kingdom has to be united, has to be solidified, man, has to be a unit, you know. And Esau's just not moving that way. Esau done fucked himself over so many times that Edomites don't trust on himself, man. Okay? That's why you got a lot of, the Lord put in the spirit on a lot of these Edomites to go just as hard, if not harder than, you know, so-called blacks and Latinos out there protesting, man. And I'm talking about the so-called sincere ones, the ones that are not, you know, out there trying to cause violence, but just protesting and bringing out, you know, points as far as like the way that so-called blacks and Latinos are treated here, and the importance of those two people here and whatnot, you know. Because you got this guy, Trump, as of late, repenting from deporting a bunch of people without taking into account the ones that work the farms, the ones that work the hotels, the ones that work in these different industries where Esau is not able to work like them. Esau's not able to perform like them. All right. There's a meme going around. Most I could put it at the end of this lesson, but if not, I'll post it as soon as I get it. But there's a meme going around where there's like maybe like, I want to say like a dozen people on a site where they're building up this house, and you got like half of them looking at their phones, the other half's like, you know, working, but like at a very slow pace. You know what I mean? You had a few that weren't even doing nothing. They were probably on their break. And you know, you got Issachar and all the other nations that come over here, but in particular Issachar, he is hired, right, as the as the the definition of Issachar goes into, right, which is he is hired, or what it means actually, which is he is hired, and they go hard, man. They don't stop. They get a flow. They got a plan of how they're gonna execute whatever it is that they have. The task is at hand, and once they start going, it's almost like water. They just flow, man. And they get the job done, right? With sweat in their eyebrows, right? With pain in their joints and whatnot, but they're built for this, man. All right, Jake is built different. All right, so this is why you got these Edomites, and I think I saw a couple. They probably was Jake, so they were brown, but they're not getting down like Issachar get down, man. So, it's very obvious, man, that a lot of things are not gonna get done the way it used to be done. It used to get done, because you got a lot of workers, migrant workers that are not coming out to these job sites because they fear that they're gonna get deported. You know what I mean? And then that's a problem in itself, because now how are you gonna support your family? In a country where the government doesn't want you in. It's a very fucked up situation. But like I said earlier, man, call hello Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, man. Man's going off the Lord. The Lord is doing this. The Lord is orchestrating all of this. He's behind it all right? Moving the left and the right hand, okay? That's just the nitty gritty of it, man. And when you understand that, it actually it should comfort you, man, because you know that the Lord has everything in control, all right? He's not up there scratching his head trying to figure this out for us, how he's going to save Jake. The scriptures tell you it's an easy thing. It's easy work for the Lord to save any Israelite out of any type of trouble, man, if he if it pleases him to do so, man. All right? Let's get Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of their destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Now, who is the father of spirits, man? Yahweh. All right? Yahweh. And he's the one who sets up these spirits of vengeance, man. Okay, and this is why you seeing a lot of people getting hurt, a lot of people getting killed, not only here but abroad, man. That airplane that just came down out there in India, a few months ago you had one fall around by Brazil, they were targeted, right? But still, nonetheless, man's going over the Lord. Deuteronomy 32 and 39, where it speaks on how the Lord gives life and makes you roughly paraphrasing that he puts you to death and he gives life. You know what I'm saying? He injures and he wounds, and can nobody deliver you out of his hands, because he has the whole world in his hands, man. Okay? Though the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, guess what? The wicked is controlled by Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. All right? That's point blank period, man. The Lord has left-handed angels running that, right? To his measures, to the way he wants things to happen and when to happen and all that. So, yeah, this is why you're seeing a lot of death going on. And might I add, I brought this one out because even more death is going to be coming out, man. It's going to be ramping up, man. It's going to be a everyday thing. Okay, when all hell breaking loose over here, man, because at the end of the day, that's the end goal, right? Because Jacob's trouble, Salakia, Jacob's trouble is the Lord's basically Jacob's trouble is set or created for those 2/3 minded Israelites, man, that didn't get this, that was still sleeping, that was rebellious, that was too proud to accept and teach this, right? Because you got Nathaniel spewing his bullshit. You have Alizé spewing his bullshit. One of them is talking about 1,000 years. The other one says saying 300. But if you look at all these prophecies happening, and that's at least the few scriptures that I brought out, it proves different, man. I mean, it's just stupid, because if you think about it, 1,000 years from now, let's say 500 years from now, right, which is crazy. But 500, what prophecies do we read about that if in around 500 years, what is that? 2080 or some shit? Or 2070, around there? What scriptures lead one to believe that around that time, these prophecies that are being spoken about are going to happen at that time, or even 955 years from now, you know what I mean? Let alone 300, it don't fucking matter. But it's just, Jake Jake is just wicked as fuck, man. And the reason that these people even have the audacity, besides the spirit of Yahweh Bashanal Shah being put on them to do or to say these things, but the reason that they're also having the audacity to say is because they have the following, man. All right, and people are just don't want to take heed to sound doctrine, man. Right? They have itchy ears, so they just listening to the bullshit that makes them feel good instead of the truth, man, which is in the scriptures, right? But to each their own. The Lord's gonna make right on all His prophecies, man, and the ones that have been bucking up against it and scoffing and talking shit even under your breath, even when you're in your house talking shit about the real men of the Lord, you're gonna have to answer for that. The Lord's gonna get all of y'all, man, point blank, right? So I'll leave you with this last scripture. This is the book of Romans 13:4. It says, "For He is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For He beareth not the sword in vain. For He is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doth evil," man. All right? This is speaking on Esau, man. All right? Esau is the Lord's whipping stick. That's how he keeps Jake in check. All right? As I said in past lectures, man, if the Lord was to turn up the spirit on us, the revenge spirit on us, we would have been done away with Esau, man. Some way, somehow. But the Lord took that out. On top of that, He promised, not promised, but He blessed them with the sword, which goes into not only their weaponry, but their philosophies, right? And their medicine, all their bullshit. You know what I mean? These men were set up for that, man. And we're living in a time where Esau thinks he knows what he's doing. So which is why he's setting up the MO to the TB, man, to have absolute control, because he has everything already except for absolute control, which is what Yahweh has, man, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's what Esau wants, man. Okay, so this is why I entitled the lesson "Order Out of Chaos" or "Order Out of Chaos," the last moments of Esau's kingdom, right? Because he's going to attempt, through all this, with all this chaos that he's causing himself, he's going to attempt to establish some type of order, right? But that's him trying to get that absolute power that Yahweh has and that he doesn't have, right? Because that's his end goal, man. Esau's end goal right there is to control everything, man. And everything and everybody. How many trees there are on earth, how many, this man want to do everything. Transhumanism, as if the Lord got it wrong, so now he has to perfect it, right? But that's who the Lord set up over us, man. And the Lord has total control over this devil, man. Okay, which is why we should fear the Lord even more, man. All right, and stay in order, because He set this man up to keep us in order. You know what I mean? For He is the minister of God to thee for good, right? And you know better when you see the boys out there, man. By the boys, I mean the cops, right? You see them around, and even when you wasn't in the truth, that shit will keep you from doing anything, man. The fact that they was always lingering around and hanging out around driving around your own neighborhood. It says, but if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, man. All right, and a lot of our people are not afraid. This is why they're out there protesting, man. But Esau's about to open up on these niggas, man. All right, it's nothing for Esau to fucking wipe out a whole corner or a whole block full of fucking knuckleheads trying to go up against him, trying to, you know, take over. You know, they're already calling it insurrection if you pull out another flag and all types of shit, knowing that that's not really what's happening, but that's how they painting it in the media, right? And that's another form of his sword, man. These lies that he spews through his media, man. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. He's gonna put your ass to death, man. All right, he's gonna put your ass to death, you knucklehead, hard-headed ass jakes that think that y'all could be in the middle of everything and trying to stop this, man. You know, people been marching for decades, man. The civil rights movement wasn't too long ago. and you see how these people still treat Jake, man. So get the fuck out of here with that, you know, we gonna overcome and, you know, let's go protest and show love. Love is gonna overcome. No, the fuck is not, man. All right, the only love that's gonna overcome is the elect's love, the love of the elect for Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, man, which is to follow his commandments to the best of their abilities. Okay? To the best of their abilities, man. So I pray that this lesson was edifying. In closing, I want to give all honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Bakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who teach Ruel. Salutations to your brothers in the highways and byways. Salutations also goes out to you brothers and few sisters that tune in to listen and learn. To you all, I say Shalom and Abba Baba.